Good morning, beloved ones.
Good morning.
Turn to someone and tell them, you are free indeed. You are free indeed. You are free. The scripture says, if anyone is in Christ, right, in that divine nature of who we are in God, then he or she is free indeed. So today is about freedom. It's about us recognizing that we are free in spirit, and that in that freedom and in that recognition of who we are in the divine, that we share our light and we share our love, and we let our light sort of open up and flow and be a blessing to others. See, when you feel free, you can allow others to what? Be free. Right? And that's what it's about, truly. But you know, even though this is a time in which we pay our respect and our honor, and we remember those who have died in war, I am looking forward to the day when we all begin to live in peace. See, I know that there have been wars and rumors of war since the beginning of time, and there are those who have lost their lives in war. But I am looking forward to the day when we begin to live in peace. Now, I know that that day may appear to be far off, especially with all of the things that are occurring in our world today. Different groups and seemingly just the ability to not value life, or all life. And I know that it seems like somehow living in peace is impossible. But yet, friends, we must still hold that vision of its possibility. We have to hold that vision, because the truth of the matter is, it is possible. It is possible. And we all of us here, have a role in bringing it about. Every one of us has a role in bringing it about. We might not understand that particular call and charge that we have, but I know that you all are here by divine appointment. You are in this church, in this ministry, holding these views and values for a higher purpose. Because somebody has to hold the vibration, right? Somebody has to keep the faith. Somebody has to know that there is a higher way, a better way. And I believe we're all gathered and we're all here because we desire to know that and to live that out in our own individual lives, to express that which is highest and best in us for the highest and best of all concerned. That's why we're here. I often tell you that you're here to be a light bearer, right? Don't I say that quite often? That we're all here to be light bearers. Now, that can mean that we are here literally, or at this time on the planet to be a light bearer. It could also mean that we are all here in this part of the country, in the nation's capital, right? Because we are meant to be a light bearer. And that this place is truly significant. This area on the planet is significant because it represents a symbol of freedom. And it signals to the world the benefits and the possibilities of living at the highest level. That's what this place signifies. Now, whether or not that's just an image, or whether or not we are actually living up to our own creeds and our own declarations of independence and freedom and equality for all, whether or not we are living up to that and it's just an image, but the point is that it is an ideal that is a powerful one. Even if we're not able to match it it is a divine idea whose time has come. It's an ideal that is powerful, and that there are others on the planet who are looking for ways to achieve and step into something higher and something better. Even we here in this country are seeking to do that for ourselves, right? A way out of limitation and darkness. And we as light bearers and truth students can show the way. We can show the way from a truly higher perspective. What do we say? Let's seek a what? A higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness. So we as light bearers and truth students can show the way to a higher perspective. See, a light bearer is one who's able to shine forth the beauty and the essence of God. Shine it brightly for all to then see and to experience. That's what a light bearer does. You hold up the light so that others can what? See that light and experience that light. And so as we allow the light that we are to transform and lift others around us, we all are lifted up into a better state. So that's our purpose, to somehow recognize that we are here to be light bearers for each other so that we all can see and experience the light of God, a better way, a better life, a higher life. And we're all somehow connected in purpose, right? And we're not here by accident. First of all, what does it say? No man is an island. Nobody could be here on this planet by themselves, period. You need another soul, and there's a reason for that. I ran across a TED Talk. Somebody sent me this copy of this TED Talk by a gentleman named Greg Gage, and he is a specialist in neuroscience and the functioning of the brain. And in his experiments and work, he shows us a clear connection to not only ourselves, but to the brain's ability to be connected, to connect all parts of the body, but also the brain's ability to connect us to one another as well. Now, this clip is about 6 minutes, but I wanted us to have an opportunity to use our technology. And so just sit back, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we see here, but let's just take a look at this video. Now, I wanted to show that because I'm fascinated by that. I don't know if you really got what happened there, because it clearly shows us how connected we are to each other, and what's important to me is how we actually need to be more aware of the company we keep. We need to be aware of... No, we're going to look at this a little bit, right? Because you saw her brain had the ability to what? Control his arm movement. Her brain sent a signal to her body to move her arm, which jumped over to his brain and his arm so that he was moving, right? So this is important because it tells us that we can not only influence those around us when we're connected to them, but that we also may be influenced by them. And so it's really important to surround yourself with well-intentioned people, well-intentioned folks. So apparently there's a nerve along in our forearm that allows us to pick up the brain waves of others that we're connected to, right? And I'm just wondering, I thought it was so interesting that it's the forearm, because it's almost like metaphysically what that's saying to me is that we are an extension of one another. We're an extension to each other, right? So this nerve that connects your brain and my brain is through my forearm, and I'm connected to you. I'm extended to you. There's a part of me that is reaching out to you and a part of you that responds to the extension of my arm and my essence and my energy and my brain. So what this says is that we are wired and connected to each other. See, not just they developed a machine that could show us that, but the connection is there. They didn't develop the connection. They developed a machine to show us that process. So what that says is we are wired and connected to each other. And what's more important is that, and I don't think that this video showed that, and that's fine, but it's something that I believe, it's that we are also wired for God and connected for God. And there's been a lot of research to show that how humans have this innate desire and longing for something higher than themselves. It's innate, an innate desire for God, an innate for something greater. We have a desire to be connected to others. It's just natural. It's in us. We're wired for that, right? For this higher power, purpose, whatever you want to call it, higher being or essence, whatever you want to name it. We call it God. But so that's in us to seek out the higher, the greater, the better, right? This higher power. So there's a company that's been doing some research, and what they found is that, and been able to validate that people who pray and meditate regularly actually undergo a real change, a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual change. So it's not just something that we do on Sundays and something that Reverend Sylvia keeps harping on and telling you all to do, but that it actually has causes some type of change in our being. Now, this article was from a magazine called Relevant. And I want to read what they were talking about in terms of meditating and praying and what it does for us and what it does for others as well. And it says that people who meditate regularly undergo a deep change. It says they experience less stress. They even experience a reduction in blood pressure. Their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with focus and attention, becomes more active over time, helping them to avoid distraction and to be more intentional, which is a good thing. So that when we say we want to, you have an affirmation or you want to intend to do something, the more you meditate and pray, you'll have it'll be more likely that you'll be able to do it. Your intentions will be active and stronger, right? Then they say they also have more activity in their anterior cingulate cortex. And that's the part of our brain associated with love, compassion, and empathy. They say focusing on God's love makes us more loving and less angry. And it's easier for us to forgive ourselves and others. So there's a part of the brain that makes it easier for us to love and have compassion, to forgive ourselves and to forgive others. Then it said, now here's the kicker, because they also say, but every person doesn't always see God as loving. Many people also see God as angry or vindictive. And they say when we focus on God's anger at us or even at others, because sometimes we know God must be angry at those people over there because those are some bad people, right? But when we focus, it says when we focus on God's anger at us or others, different things happen in our brains. Our limbic system becomes more active. This can be helpful, they say. Fear of God can change our behavior, at least temporarily. But ultimately, dwelling on God's anger increases our stress level and makes us fearful of others. So this is a good point, because if you have an angry God, naturally it will cause you to be fearful and mistrustful of other people, right? And to be angry. So, and then they say, then we have trouble forgiving ourselves and other people. Neuroscience shows us that God's love is better for us than God's wrath. And this is by a gentleman named Mike McCarvey. Now, this is nothing new for us, right? God's love is better for us physically and mentally and emotionally than having a God of wrath and anger and vindictiveness. Revengeful God, a God that will smite and smote and whatever else the Old Testament God had. So this is the thing. We have to understand how important it is to hold a higher consciousness and even of the nature of God. Because we truly are wired for God and for each other. And therefore, it is vital that we keep our thoughts and our feelings about God on the positive side. Because that's going to help us keep ourselves positive with one another and not fearful and threatened by someone who's different or who functions in a manner that we're not accustomed to, where we automatically feel we should just annihilate them, get rid of them. They're different. So this is very vital that we keep our God concept on the positive side if we want to experience positive results in our physical bodies and in our real life experiences. Not to mention if we want to stay healthy. Having an angry God can make you sick. Yeah, because your body's tense and angry all the time. So this is our work as light bearers, friends. This is where our work comes in, because we want to keep our thoughts and our feelings and our vibrations very high. You want to keep them high because in so doing, we will most definitely affect not only ourselves, but we affect everybody around us, right? So sending vibrations of love and peace and light can create a force field of love that others can feel, that others can participate in. Not as some imaginary thing, but a real field of consciousness, a field of love in which people who enter into that field will be blessed and benefit by. And we know that it can work, it goes for any other kind, whether it's love or peace or harmony or understanding. You create a force field of peace. You can create a force field of harmony or whatever so that others can move into that. Now, this is why being in the company of high-minded people is such as ourselves. But being in the company of high-minded people is very powerful. You've got to watch the company that you keep, because they can either lift you up or they can bring you down. Or you might be the one to do the lifting up. That's all right. But we need to be aware of just how connected we are and what types of signals and energy that we are sending out into the environment, into our space. Because it works both ways, right? It can also work in the negative, and we've all had that experience. You can walk into a place where something has just happened. Maybe people have had an argument, and you come into the room and you don't know what happened, but you know something ain't right up in here, because you can what? You can feel it. You walk right into that vibration without even knowing what took place. There are people I know who went to the trip to Africa, and they were saying that the moment they went into the doors, the last doors, right, that they could feel the vibrations of people, the fear and the hurt of anger. You can feel it. Doesn't matter how long we are all energetic beings, and we leave an imprint, not only upon the planet, but we leave an imprint with everything that we do. And people can feel that. People come into this church and they have not been here, but they say, there's something here. And it feels good. I don't know what it is. We know what it is. It's the vibration of love. It's a higher force field that we have created. A safe place for people to enter into. This is some powerful stuff, because it tells us who we are as a people on the planet and what we're supposed to be about and how we can actually create. We can create heaven on earth. We really can if we understand how to do that and what types of thoughts and feelings and beliefs that we need to hold in our own body. So this is where ownership of the truth or spiritual principles and spiritual beliefs will serve not only us well, but it will serve all of those around us well. Now, there's another scientific process, and I've spoken about this one. It's a phenomenon that's been around for a number of years, and it's called entrainment. And entrainment basically states that whatever has the highest and the strongest vibration will pull or cause a lower vibration to match it or to get in sync with it, right? Whatever has the highest vibration, and there's a group called Heart Math in California, and they do a lot with studying the activity of the heart, because the heart is actually the strongest and the highest organ in the body. Although we think it's the brain, it really is the heart, right? Because you can be brain dead and still be alive, but when the heart goes, that's it. So they study the vibration of the heart and how it has the ability to heal the rest of the body and to bring all the discordant energies and systems in the body into alignment, into peace, into harmony, which then allows healing to take place. Anyway, so this whole process of entrainment means that whoever is carrying the strongest vibration will bring all the other lower forms of vibration up to itself. And it's sort of like how you tune a piano, right? That they hit a tuning fork and all these other strings kind of come up into alignment with that. They get into alignment and they become in tune. It's the same thing with us. So here's the kicker. We have such great power. Love, we know, is one of the highest and the strongest vibrations that there is, right? We kind of know that because love is of God, and the Bible says love is God. So it's a high vibration. And the vibration of love is one that works as a transformative force for good. Love as a vibration is a transformative energy that can transform and lift up anything that is less than itself. So what we're saying here is, with all I'm trying to say, is that I want us to be mindful of the tremendous power and ability that we as spiritual beings have. Spiritual beings having a human experience. Because we can not only transform our lives, but one another as well. When we do a couple of things, when we first align ourselves with God. That's the first step. I've got to raise my vibration, but I do so by aligning myself, my thoughts, my feeling, my energy field, my vibrations with God. And I do it often enough. See, not just on Sundays, not just once a week, not just on occasion, but when I begin to align my vibration with the God vibration often enough, I then begin to create those positive neural pathways in my brain that will begin to automatically lead me to God, lead me to good. Because the more you do that, the more you vibrate on that level of God awareness or whatever, on positive thoughts, you're creating a pathway, a neural pathway for good. And what will happen if you do it on a consistent, it'll cause you to come from a higher place more consistently. See, and that's what we're all trying to do, come from a higher place more consistently. So even this morning when I was riding in, you know, some of my challenges, my growth lessons come while I'm driving. It's my growing edge. And this was, of course, this is Memorial Day weekend, and we have what? Rolling thunder. And so I was at a light for about 3 successions of lights that had changed, and none of us, we couldn't move, and I could see them just passing by. And I felt myself saying, you know, must be a policeman up there, but who's going to stop them so that we can, you know, kind of get through? And I could watch myself kind of move. Now, I didn't get to the degree that I would normally get. So I'm seeing growth in me, you know, and when we finally started moving, the lady in front of me, or guy, whoever it was so slow, and I was like, hurry up, move, because I don't want to get stuck. And then all of a sudden, it's like, you know what, I'm going to get here when I get here. Y'all have to wait, you have to wait. You know, it's just, But I'm looking forward to the day where it's even quicker, where the thought may becomes a frustration or anxiety, but it's so quick. It comes up and it passes, just as quick. And I'm starting to have those experiences, and I'm grateful for them. It comes up. Doesn't mean you're never going to have human emotions and human expressions, but they come up and they pass. We won't have the tendency to want to grab onto it and just function for it, because we've got a neural pathway that's established in anxiety and frustration and anger, and so we ride that one. I'm starting to ride a different neural pathway. I'm starting to ride the pathway towards God, and this is all possible for all of us, friends. It's so powerful. So, because when we do this consistently, when we begin to create this wonderful neural pathway that speaks to God and to the good and to love and all the positive vibrations that are out there, when we do that, we will begin to express not only goodness of God, but we will begin to draw to us that goodness. So you begin to draw. It's like a magnet, because that's the vibration that you exist on. It's the vibration that you put out, but it's also going to be the vibration that comes back to you. And you begin to draw that goodness unto yourself and to those around you, because those around you will start to be blessed and benefited by it, because you're creating a greater force field around you that others are affected by. We are affected by one another. We are in cahoots. We are connected. So when I raise my vibrations, I can hopefully help you to raise your vibrations. And when you raise your vibrations, it helps me to raise my vibrations a lot easier. This is what Jesus, as the Christ, did. He said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. Now, that could have several meanings. The obvious one is that he's probably talking about if I be lifted up, and we know that he was lifted up upon the cross, right? And through that process of crucifixion, drew people unto him. But I'm a metaphysician, and I also believe that it could mean this. It could mean he was saying that if he was able to lift up his consciousness to the Christ level of consciousness, that consciousness could and would draw and lift everyone else up to that level. This is why we're trying to reach Christ consciousness, you see? So that we're lifted up, but then everything around you and everyone else gets lifted up as well. Otherwise, he would not have said, follow me. He didn't mean we should all just go find a cross and see if we can nail ourselves to it. No, follow him into the regeneration. Follow him into this new consciousness. Follow him into the presence and power of a high consciousness and vibration that draws everything good, everything of God unto itself. And then he said, where I am, you shall be also. And I'm going to prepare a place for you. When I reach this level of consciousness, I make it possible for you to also reach that level of consciousness. Right? This is what it's about. So when we tune in, friends, to what has already been laid out and prepared for us, because once a vibration is set, it becomes available for everybody. Right? Once the 4-minute mile was broken, everybody could break it. Once that one person, it's the 100th monkey. Once one person does it, it's available for everybody. So as we tune in to Christ consciousness, that high vibration of God in man, that's what we call the Christ consciousness. It is the high vibration of God in us, as us, through us. When we tune into that vibration, then we too are lifted up above the din of this world. We could be in it, but not of it. We are lifted up above it, and then we too become a light that others can see by. Right? We become a light. So I ask you, as I bring this to a close, what is it in you that needs to be lifted up? What vibrations and quality of being do you need to express, or are you putting out in your life? What are you offering to your situations and to your experiences of your own life? Is it the highest and the best of you? Is it your truth? Is it your faith? Is it your light? Is it your love or your patience or your understanding or your forgiveness or your divine self? What is it that you are offering, giving, and putting out? See, we need to check ourselves every now and then. What am I vibrating right now? Because if we can keep seeking and touching that God vibration in us, the good vibrations, will begin to set that pathway to our good. It becomes automatic. It starts to flow to us because that's what we are putting out. The law is as within, so without. Whatever you put out there, you will receive. So we say raise. This is about raising your consciousness. Raising your consciousness, and you will raise the world. Raise your vibration, and you will raise the world. So I just simply say, let the good vibrations flow. Blessings and namaste. Namaste. Blessings. Namaste. Wonderful.